Oliver had been living in the abandoned house for weeks, managing to survive on the little he had. The house was old, its wooden beams creaking under the weight of years. One day, while sweeping a coal cellar, he stumbled upon a hidden treasure. The sight of the old banknotes made his heart race. With the money, he could finally escape this life of hardship. But as he touched the banknotes, he noticed that they were numbered, which could lead the robbers back to him. Soon his safe haven was sold and an estate agent moved into the house. This woman started buying up all the abandoned houses in the area. Oliver had to move quickly, hiding the money in different locations, always looking over his shoulder, knowing that the robbers could be anywhere. The robbers, believing the estate agent had stolen their money, killed her. Oliver witnessed the murder from his hiding place, his heart pounding. When the robbers found no money in the houses, they started accusing each other of theft. One by one they were murdered, and Oliver could only watch. Oliver knew he was in grave danger. Each time he touched the money, he felt a shiver run down his spine. He needed to think of a plan. He decided to leave the money behind and run, but he was too late. The last surviving robber found him. A chase ensued, with Oliver barely escaping. Oliver ran through the narrow alleys of London, his heart pounding in his chest. He could hear the robber's footsteps close behind him. He managed to lose the robber in the labyrinth of streets, finally finding refuge in a church. He was safe, but for how long? In the church, he met a kind-hearted priest who offered him shelter. Oliver was grateful, but he knew he couldn't stay for long. The next morning, Oliver found the courage to return to the abandoned house. He had to retrieve the money. It was his only chance of survival. He took a deep breath and entered the house. As he collected the banknotes, he noticed something odd. A map was hidden among them. The map seemed to outline a route to the coast. Could this be his way out? Could he escape the robbers and start a new life? Oliver decided to follow the map. He knew it was a risk, but it was one he had to take. With a heavy heart, he left London behind. The journey was long and arduous. He travelled by foot, stealing food when he could, always staying hidden. He was constantly on the move. He finally reached the coast. The sight of the vast ocean filled him with hope. He could see a ship anchored in the distance. The ship was his ticket to freedom. He had to get on it. But as he approached, he noticed a familiar figure on the deck. It was the last surviving robber. Oliver hid behind a stack of crates, watching as the robber paced the deck. He had to think fast. There was no turning back now. He saw a lifeboat tied to the ship. Making his move, he silently untied it and pushed it into the water, climbing in quickly. As he rowed away, the robber noticed him. He shouted and ran towards the edge of the ship, but it was too late. Oliver was already out of reach. Oliver rowed as far as he could until the ship was just a dot in the horizon. He was free. He had escaped the dangerous web of deceit. He spent days at sea, surviving on fish and rainwater. He was weak, but he was alive. The ordeal had finally come to an end. Oliver eventually found land. He was greeted by kind villagers who took him in. He had a new home, a place where he could finally be safe. He chose to leave the money behind. It had brought him nothing but trouble. He had his life, and that was all he needed. Life in the village was simple, but it was peaceful. Oliver found happiness in the little things. He had a family and a place to call home. As the years passed, Oliver grew into a fine young man. He never forgot his past, but he didn't let it define him. He had moved on. The orphan boy who had once lived in fear was now a man who lived in peace. He had found his freedom, his home, and his happiness. Oliver's secret, the story of his past, was a part of him. But it was just that, a part. He had a whole new life ahead of him, a life full of promise and hope. As he looked out at the peaceful village, he realized that he had truly found his home. The orphan's secret was finally safe, and so was he.